Well, let's see. Thank you for joining us. We're going to play Krista's call from the beginning of the show again. It made all of us uncomfortable. At the very least, it disturbed us to the point of wondering if we had spoken to a living person. An audio message just arrived on WhatsApp at 1127841073. What I mean is, it could be a joke, but if it's not a joke, we're experiencing an impressive paranormal phenomenon. If it's not a joke, we're experiencing a real paranormal event. Listen to what this woman says.
Hola, Héctor. Ya todos los que están así en la radio, lo paranormal.
I can't contain the excitement I feel. I can hear you. Oh my God, Krista's voice.
Krista, Krista era mi hermana. Murió hace muchos años. Era ella.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Era ella. Estoy muy emocionada. Muchas gracias.
The person who sent us this audio isn't answering. We're calling her. I want to talk live on air. If this is a joke, I mean, to put myself in the skeptical position, it could all be a joke. Or a trap. The person who went on air told the story, and another woman is sending this audio to provoke a reaction. I don't think the person who spoke with us lied. And this audio sounds really weird. On top of that, it sounds really weird. Could artificial intelligence make it? Yes, it could. But what if it's not? Let's leave some room.
Hola, Héctor.
Yes.
Ya todos los que están así en la radio, lo paranormal. No puedo contener la emoción que tengo.
I can hear you. Oh my God, Krista's voice. Krista.
Krista era mi hermana. Murió hace muchos años.
It was her. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It was her.
Estoy muy emocionada. Muchas gracias.
Oh, God. Let's do one thing, because a lot of people didn't hear at the beginning of the show when I spoke with Krista. Let's air the full conversation with Krista. The audio is really weird. Yeah, it sounds really weird. I mean, it sounds like someone is covering their mouth. It sounds weird, but if a woman has dental problems, it'll sound weird too, right? We're going to air the full communication with Krista. I'm going to greet Krista, who's live with us and waiting for us. Hi, Krista. Good evening. How are you?
Good. I apologize, but I'm new and I didn't know how to do it.
Relax. How old are you?
45 years old.
Okay, well, we're listening to you. We're listening to your story.
All right. 20 years ago, with my mom, we lived in Villa Devoto. My mom was hit by the 4-track train on San Martin Avenue. Anyone who knows that area knows there are a lot of intersecting tracks, and on San Martin Avenue there are 4. We had just moved in. And my mom, when crossing the tracks at 3 in the afternoon, I wasn't with her. I was arranging the little apartment, and I looked to one side. And the sun hit his face, and he didn't see the train coming. And he ran her over. She fell onto the guardrails and all the metal bars there. And she didn't have any documents, nothing, because it was from my brother's apartment, just 6 blocks to our new little apartment. And well, a neighbor passes by and says, "It's Rosa. She lives in Havana." And that's how they found the address of my mom's goddaughter, the phone number, and they called her. The thing is, she took care of it. An ambulance came and they took her to a hospital in Villa de Oro, but from there to Pirovano. At Pirovano, well, there wasn't much they could do because she survived. And she had exposed brain. She did. I don't know, 20 fractures. And the train, which was an express, hit her. If it had been a train that stopped at the station, it would have run her over and she would have died. But she survived. And that's where I settled in. She was in a coma for 4 months. 4. Dr. Fabal, the neurologist, told me not to get my hopes up because of the number of fractures, and that the blow to her exposed brain had affected the area responsible for emotions. Well, I stayed there. I asked for permission to sleep there, and I would sleep on practically right next to my mom's feet, so that while in a coma, she wouldn't pull out all those cables. The days passed like that. I asked the nurses, the head nurse on the floor, if she would let me take care of the room with 8 patients, and I helped. Because what else did I do all day besides help and take care of my mom? My mom didn't just sleep.
Mm-hmm.
On the second afternoon that I was at the Pirovano, my mom sits up. She sits on the bed. She sits up as best she can. She sits on the bed. And her mom opens her eyes and greets toward the area of her feet.
Mm-hmm.
She smiles and lies down again until the next day. It happens again at 5 in the afternoon, 5:30, as if she had an internal clock. And I called Dr. Fabal, and he says, "This is very strange. It must be a neurological nervous mechanism because she's still in a coma." And that's how it went for 4 nights. And many more until she comes out of the coma. The 5th night, I'm talking about the most severe coma states, right? From what I remember, the neurologist told me. And, hello, daughter. Mom, do you recognize me? Yes, what happened? She spoke to me while staring at the same spot. And she starts waving with her little hand, and no. I say, oh, of course, next to my mom's bed, there was a frosted glass that separated it from another bed where there was a man at the foot of her mother's bed. You could see the figure. She tells me, I'm saying hello. And I said, oh, she's saying hello to the figure of this man. And I turned to the glass and said, sir, please. My mom is waking up from a coma and you should come closer because she's waving and it must be your figure that she sees. Yes, of course. I say, "Here is Mom, the man you were waving at." She looks at him closely and says to me, "No." To my friends who are behind him, the gentleman, "Excuse me, pardon." And I say, "Mom, who were you greeting? Mari, Hector, Juan, Julio?" My friends from the theater. My mom was the deputy head of wardrobe and costume tailoring at the Teatro Colón for 25 years. And she greeted those 5 people who had passed away and were her colleagues from the theater. The 6th day, she didn't see them anymore and started crying a lot because they didn't come back. And that left an impression on me because I couldn't see anything.
Of course.
Afterwards, it took me 22 years to get her back, to pull the worms out from under her armpits and so on. But my mom lived many more years, and she didn't die because of the train. Do you know anything about that?
Wait, because your story is incredible. Your story is incredible. I mean, I understand that besides all these supernatural phenomena she experienced with loved ones from work, family who came to visit her, she was alive for how much longer?
And 30 years, and she died of colon cancer.
So did she die recently?
Yes, around 20 years ago. So I moved, of course, because I always have the impression that I hear the voices from when my dad died too. That I imagine he's there in his bedroom, and well, I can't forget, I can't help myself. And I used to live in Devoto, and I moved to the river neighborhood further in.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I mean, no, I gave away all his clothes. I only kept one photo of her.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
That's fine, huh?
And I stay. Is that okay?
Of course, that's fine, because life is about moving forward, right? I listen to you carefully and I can sense the pain in your voice. First, I ask how old you were since you're younger than me. And yet, I thought I was talking to someone who was twice my age. Why am I telling you this? Because,
I don't understand.
of course, your voice sounds like the voice of a very old person, very elderly. That's why, as a broadcaster, I'm telling you this. It has to do with the anguish with which you're speaking, but I understand it. That has to do with the pain that probably still accompanies you. What I'm saying to you, obviously from a loving place, is that life moves forward. So I want to ask you if you have family members, friends, people you run into.
Well, I've belonged to the artistic world since I was little. At the Colón, since I was little, I graduated as a dancer, and then I dedicated myself to theater. And I worked for many years on Channel 13 with Goar Mestre's family, that Cuban.
Yes, but today And you today, how is your life? I was asking you if you have friends, if you have people who visit you. Do you go out?
Yes. I'm an enthusiast as a hobby. And because my dad taught me, my dad left me with great lessons. The Delta, living in the Delta, sailing in the Delta. And I became an islander, living on a little island. Friends, male and female, would visit, and I had a relative who would come with his wife.
Of course, right? Sorry to interrupt you, Krista. I'm asking you because everything you answer has to do with the past, with things that already happened. I'm asking you about the future, right? I mean, for example, you're talking to me now. How's your week going? What are your plans for tomorrow and the rest of the week?
I really like humor and I write humor.
Uh-huh.
But ever since I was a girl, humor and love have always been with me, so
I like that phrase.
I write.
I use a very similar phrase in the theater. I say that humor, love, and music are my pillars.
And yes, that's what works. And I feel very protected when I write and laugh at what I write. And then watching it. Do you understand why I make people laugh? And that's fabulous.
Of course now, huh? Krista, I'm coming. Sorry if I misunderstood your story at any point, but people here are telling me this. Maybe I got it wrong, huh? You said you were 45 when I asked your age, but you're not actually 45, are you?
No, I'll turn 46 on October 9th.
Oh, are you really that age?
And why did you doubt it?
No, because I didn't understand if you told me that 45 is your current age or if you were 45 when your mother's accident happened.
No. No, because in the meantime, everything that happened with my mom died, my brother and sister-in-law died. My dad had already died.
During the time when your mother was bedridden?
Exactly. I got married and my husband died. Someone told me because I didn't. No, I don't believe a lot of things, you know? Because, well, that's how I was raised.
What things?
To believe in. I've come to have my cards read.
You don't believe in that? Let's say...
No, because once a friend told me, come on, I'm going to introduce you to a numerologist. He's a great numerologist. And what's that? You give him the data, okay. And the numerologist told me, your boyfriend is going to leave you in May and you're going to die in December. And that impacted me so much, among other things, because he told me, no, that I was going to be successful in this, that things were going to go well for me, that I was going to move again. It impacted me so much that I swore I'd never try to find out again what my future holds, since no one knows.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that there are people who, from what you told me, there are things that I don't know about them. New ways of thinking, that there is life after life, which I don't believe, but there are people who tell me that. Yes, and I listen to you and I listen to people talk on your show. And I say, could it be that there is life after life, that there is a reunion with loved ones?
I have no doubt at all, if you ask me. I've had a lot of signs, messages, and experiences where I confirm that we definitely continue to exist beyond the physical. Obviously, communication isn't as explicit as it is on this plane, but it's subtle. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's just that the people who have passed away. I like to use this Mexican phrase, which is, they went ahead of us. It's not that they died and we lost them, we didn't lose anything. They just went ahead of us on the journey. We're all going to the same place.
Well, the belief of the Aztecs, I lived in Mexico for 5 years. because of my work. I work for them over there. It's when there's work, they have a wonderful story with the dead. On November 2nd, I'm in Mexico.
Really? I'm also going to Mexico this year again for Day of the Dead.
And I'm going with my dad's photo and my mom's photo. And I go to the cemetery with my friends and we have a party with the mariachis. And it's a beautiful ritual.
It's beautiful. Well, if you're going to be in Mexico at the same time, I'd like to meet you in person. Look, how crazy would it be to meet in person in Mexico?
That would be really nice.
That would be awesome.
I would love that.
Would you like that?
Oh, yes. Obviously.
Well, look, we already have a plan there, which is obviously a nice plan, because it's the way to connect with loved ones who have passed away, without the anguish of pain, but with the hope of knowing that they are there and that on that day we honor them.
And how? Because it's a celebration.
It's a celebration, but for those who haven't experienced it, it's hard to understand. They ask, how is it a celebration? My mom died. No, but don't misunderstand. It's not disrespectful to the deceased, it's the opposite.
And I bring from here the cigarettes my dad used to smoke.
Of course, because you have to make the offering.
Of course, the things they liked. I would offer them, Mexican food, of course, what they liked from here,
Of course,
because that's where the offering is. The first time, a few years ago, when I went for the first time, I got a little scared. It seemed like they were being offended.
yes, it's true.
And then it feels a bit uneasy.
We're not used to it.
No. And then they showed me, pointed out to me, taught me. Luckily, I have a lot of friends. And they've told me, no, you're honoring them. They are waiting for November 2nd to arrive because the 1st is the day of the deceased children.
Of course.
And I learned everything so much that I know how to speak in Kalo.
Hey. So are you a fanatic?
No. I write for them.
Ah, okay. For people who might not know, because we go to Mexico quite often, Mexican slang, Mexicans call it caliche. It's a special slang that has very specific words which are generally like a secret code. Of course, it's like, let's say, exactly, it's like our own slang. Or when you can compare it with some words from the Spanish Romani people, right? I mean, they have something there that's like a code.
It's very unique, not like Naco.
Of course, of course.
Naco is looked down upon, criticized. He's an outcast, poor thing. Well, I love Mexican culture because it's very wise. You have to understand it.
Of course, of course.
That's all.
Listen, Krista, honestly, first I want to thank you for these minutes you gave us for sharing your story. It makes me a little happy to hear you, that your tone of voice has changed, that I started to notice you're more lively, more whole. I think
I'm excited
that's great.
to chat with. Hey, look, I used to see you on Intrusos.
Oh, look,
And when you were on camera, I used to say, what is this guy doing behind the camera? He has a splendid voice, but he's meant for something else.
exactly. But life is about stages.
And I was there the day you said goodbye to the show, and it made me really happy because I thought, whatever you start, it's going to go great for you because you have everything it takes to win.
Thank you very much, Krista. Thank you so much for your words. Thank you so much for your words.
It's the truth. I always see things as they are.
Thank you so much. Sending you a big kiss and we'll stay in touch. Please send me your phone number in private if you can. That way, when I go to Mexico, we can meet up.
Come on, dude. Don't mess with me.
No way, I liked it. Thanks, Krista, actually. Bye, bye, bye.
Done. Bye bye.
I send you a big kiss, and we all applaud Krista, everyone who's making the show, everyone who's listening to the broadcast. Thank you, Krista. Thank you. What a powerful experience we just had. It has so many sides to it, even some that are paranormal. First, let me tell you that this conversation was difficult, not because of Krista, but because of her situation when she began talking to me. You could hear the pain in her voice. Krista is 45 years old. She said she'll turn 46 this October. And her voice when the conversation started, I thought I was talking to a grandma, with all due respect, okay? But I thought I was talking to an elderly lady. I'm finishing something. Can you wait a second? I want? Because people told me that we're checking the recording too, right? Many electronic voice phenomenon recordings were heard during the story, even though she was alone. At one point, you could hear something like a dog, a whimper, or a squeak. I'm not sure if it was a door or an animal, but this woman was alone. Point number 2, were there any interference noises or not? Did you notice interference? Point number 3. Didn't you feel at some point that the voice changed, that his voice started to change? I'm looking for something, okay? No, I just got some information that yes. No. His voice changed with his growing excitement, and at one point it was like something unlocked. Lolita says that at one point she heard her mother's voice saying, Kris. Kris. And it could be that it manifested. It could be calmly. I want to tell you something because I have to check it, but I also want to share it with you all respectfully. Someone just texted me, I'm reading WhatsApp web, okay? Someone just texted me, who is part of the media, who is a colleague, and who has been going regularly to the Teatro Colón for many years to watch opera, who is clearly listening to the program. He once worked at this radio station, and he just told me that we should double check. I'll put it this way, and you'll understand. I'm going to encrypt the powerful content of the message he just sent me, believe it or not. He tells me that at some point it existed a person with the same name as the listener who just went on air, who actually worked at the Teatro Colón, but who passed away at least 25 years ago.